Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on their road to success.
Hey, what's going on, world? We are back with you again for another week of the Success Journey Show. I am Ricky Ventures, and I'm here with none other Marlon Madden. Marlon, what's good, bro? How you doing?
Man, I'm trying to figure out something, how life works, man. Because the older I get, the slower I get. I'm putting in more work.
Man.
I'm putting in more work than when I was younger, but my body just won't perform at that at top condition. So dude, I'm getting kind of worried, man.
Dude, you talking about getting older, bro? Like, tell me why I went casual shopping in the mall and ended up walking out with a prescription pair of glasses.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Never wore glasses a day of my life.
Hey,
dude was like, yo, yeah, you're going to need to rock these from now on. So, yeah. I tell you, man, 35, I hit 35 this year, and I'm feeling everything now. So.
I know. I'm 40.
But that's life, man. That is life. So what we got going on today, man?
I've been practicing, and I have a special guest today.
Yes, sir.
All right. We have Dr. Adewunmi.
Dr. Sarah Adewunmi has practiced outpatient orthopedics rehabilitation for over 10 years with great experience in treating chronic pains in the knee, back, and neck. Also sport injuries, post-surgical care, and shoulder problems. Dr. Adewunmi has received her Doctorate of Physical Therapy from Boston University.
Dr. Adewunmi, are you there?
I am here. I gotta
get
Welcome.
Yeah, you scored 10 points for that, Sir Marlon.
Oh, thank you. I've been practicing. I've been reading names. I even try to read other names to see if I can get everything down.
All right. There we go.
I went to coffee. I went to all the different names just to get the tongue ready. You know what I'm saying?
It worked.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Hey, just tell us a little bit about yourself, or not a little bit. Just tell us about yourself and what you've experienced in life and some of the things that you're doing.
All right, awesome. Well, first of all, I want to really just start out by saying thank you both, Marlon and Ricky, for having me on this awesome show. I'm very excited to be part of this movement. You know, when I heard the vision from Sir Marlon, I said, this is fantastic. This is something that's needed in this day and age. But to tell you a little bit about myself, it depends how much time I have to do that. But I'll accommodate. So I am first generation Nigerian. My parents actually came here to the States. I want to say like in the mid 70s, late 70s. And I was born and raised in northern New Jersey. So like the Newark, Irvington area. I'm the second of four children. And, my parents really, instilled the importance of education, service, hard work, particularly being foreigners. And, I embraced that. Probably not until I got into middle school when I hit a rough patch. I started hanging out with a small crowd, and that diverted me. But I was able to get refocused, and because of that start, I was placed and went to a private school out in Jersey, and I was just a really huge sports fan. So I participated in a lot of sports, and that was awesome. And, at that time, being such a sporty then, I was quite intrigued with athletic training for some reason and just the rehabilitation aspect. And, when you're in high school, gym teachers like your softball coach, your track coach, and your basketball coach. So at that time, my gym teacher was my basketball coach. And I asked her, I said, hey, tell me a little bit about athletic training. She said, what about physical therapy? I said, what's that? I never heard of it before. So not until maybe about a year or so after that, I actually injured my ankle by playing basketball. And I went to a physical therapist. And when I went to that physical therapist, she was actually a woman of color. She had her white coat on. And before she even had the opportunity to ask me a question, I asked her a question. I said, do you treat athletes? And she said, yes, I do. And really, that really confirmed me being in the field of physical therapy. So that was a home run hit for me right there. So after high school, I matriculated into Montclair State University, where I received my biology degree. Had the opportunity to transition into Howard University to get my master's. Now, prior to that point, though, I was debating on going into physical therapy school because it was the big rave of you have to have 3.5, 3.7. And I was going with a strong 3.25 cumulative. Don't let that get me in, just a foot in the door. All I needed was an interview. And once I get face to face with you, I know I have that ability to engage and finish the race. So,
all right.
Thankfully, I had that opportunity, went to Howard University. I did my master's. And that program, I underestimated graduate level school. But I didn't really know about God then, but I found him. Great for that. That was a process, but I was definitely stretched and challenged. And I even doubted myself, do I have the capacity to do this? But I did. I graduated from there, started working a little bit, had the opportunity to be a clinical coordinator of a practice out in the Maryland, D.C. area. And that built my leadership skills. And a couple years into that, I said, I need to get my doctorate in physical therapy. So I transitioned into Boston University program, got my doctorate in physical therapy from Boston U, and, continue to work in this clinical coordinator position. The opportunity opened up for me to work in academia and actually train and help future physical therapists. So I became an academic clinical coordinator of education at Howard University, as well as a professor. And I got the opportunity to teach, which was a great blessing. So I did that for a little bit. And, now I'm currently serving those who serve us. I'm a clinician at the Pentagon, Department of Defense. And, this has been a great privilege and a great honor, again, to serve those who serve us. I'm grateful about that. So, enough about my work passions. I'm going to tell you a little bit of some of the hats that I wear. I work as a chaplain for the professional women's soccer teams here in the Washington, D.C. area. I also serve on the board of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes at the University of Maryland. I'm founder of In Touch Wellness, which is a organization me and my siblings have, and it talks about encouragement and enrichment through education. And again, I'm a big sporty, so I love my Giants, Yankees, and Knicks. No shade on my Giants. They're not doing the best this year, but we made it.
Oh boy! Yeah, we know. Yeah, every year I do it, I'm go through it.
Don't hate.
No. I'm from we're from New York, so I'm Jamaican, but from New York, I love my Yankees. Yeah. I love the Giants, but I don't know what's going on. And the Knicks, since Ewing, them boys.
I know.
So for the past 20 years, pretty much, trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
I could tell. Okay, and I could tell you from firsthand experience, Dr. Adewunmi, that I could tell you guys from firsthand experience, because this is how I met Dr. A, right? So I twist my ankle playing basketball, and lo and behold, I end up in her office at the Pentagon as a patient. And when she was explaining everything to me and going through the steps, I was like, wow, she is really, because I've had physical therapists, other physical therapists go through this with me. But the way she was explaining and going through everything, I was like, wow, this lady's very meticulous. And she is opening my eyes to other things. And I was like, we're about to start this podcast, and I would definitely like to have you on, because a lot of people don't understand the journey that you go through just to become a doctor. How many years? I know you told us all the different schools you went to, but how many years of schooling altogether did you have to do?
Wow. Great question. Let's see. Let's add this up together. So 4 years of college.
Okay.
And 2.5 years of school for my master's. Then I did another 2 years for my doctorate. So that took about, let's add that. It's about 8.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
wow.
8.5 years. 8.5 years. We're not talking about the student loans, right? We're just talking about how many years of school, right? So this is about 8.5 years.
Wow. Wow. And through that time and through that duration, did you ever waver in terms of, is this really what I want to do? Because, you said you started off from early and that you kind of knew that this is kind of the direction, physical therapy, how it was associated with sports. You love sports. But when you got into the classroom and learning the theoretical approach and all this stuff, did it ever say, man, is this really what I want to do with the rest of my life?
You know what, Ricky? I could say yes. I did waver, and I believe I wavered because I was being stretched. And I was being stretched in a way that I've never been stretched before. So I would say even leading up again into applying for school and saying, you know what, I may not have the highest GPA, but I know I have what it takes. That was a little challenging. I needed a kick in the butt from my big sister, who I call my life coach, to see that you can do it. I remember my first semester in PT school, I was taking a neurobiology class, and it was a point in which, I had probably like 2 Bs, and, you get that one sucky grade and that really drops your GPA. So for me to excel and matriculate into the next semester, I needed to get a B average. So I needed to really bomb the last test. And prior to that, I remember calling my spiritual dad, and I said, you think I'm cut out for this? And he laughed at me. He said, if you don't, he's going to bop me in the head face to face. But I ended up getting 93 on that practical. And
wow.
From there, that took me over the top. That might be average. And that really catapulted me to say, you know what, I can do this. So definitely said, face those insecurities or the ability to say, can I do this? But again, having a supportive family and friends has really got me over the hump.
Hey, you're listening to the Success Journey Show. Just a reminder, follow us on our social media at The Success Journey Show on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Also, you can check us out on our website at thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
This is a trend I've noticed from all the people that we've been speaking to. And I know people think that, it's just a simple, everybody says, yeah, I had family and friends, I had somebody that was a mentor, but if everybody needs to realize that everyone needs someone that motivates them and also to kind of push them through to help them to get to the next level. And that's what we're all about. That teammate aspect is what we love, because no man's an island and no man stands alone, or no woman's an island and no woman stands alone. So just hearing this from you guys that have accomplished so much that you needed, even though you had to buckle down and do the studying and everything, that team that was behind you was very important.
Yeah, definitely. And even if I could, take it back to the roots and just going back to the motherland, but that verbiage that says it takes a village to raise a child. And
there you go.
To raise a vision and to go after a vision and a purpose, it's going to take a village. It's going to take a village of, if it's your family, close friends, mentors, and, faith to really get you to where you're destined to be. So I definitely co-sign off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about your daily, activity, as physical therapist. I know in our show, we've had another, I think podcast number 4, we've had another physical therapist on, and I know his focus was a little bit different from yours, but at the end of the day, you guys are both physical therapists, but tell us a little bit more about your daily routine. Like, do you see a lot of clients? Do you, more paperwork than actual working with clients one-on-one? Like, how does that work? Paint the picture for someone that doesn't know what a physical therapist is.
Yeah. So, a physical therapist, our job and our duty is to assess, evaluate, and come up with a clinical diagnosis to assist the patient and get them back to their prior level of function. So basically, we get patients who are in pain. So I am under the field of physical therapy because there's so many different arms of physical therapy. You have cardiopulmonary, neurology, pediatrics. I'm currently under the musculoskeletal field. So if you have a joint, I will see it from your toe all the way up to your neck. So if you're coming in with any pain or impairments, if it's due to injury or car accident after surgery, regular aches and pains, what we do is assess it, take a look at it, take measurements, do special techniques to really narrow in and come up with a diagnosis on why that may be occurring. Then from there, based off of the deficits, we prescribe a treatment plan to see how we can address those impairments so we can get you back to your prior level of function. Even as it pertains to Sir Marlon, when he spoke about having his ankle injury. And based off of that, he comes in, he says he has an ankle injury. I'll do an assessment, my own special tests, look at his balance stability and see how well he moves. And, based off of that, I will come up with my own clinical diagnosis on how the injury occurred, why the injury occurred. And from there, I prescribe a treatment plan and prescribe some home exercises to say, hey, start with this, but we're going to create a treatment plan. And this is what we're going to follow over the next several weeks to see if we can basically help you regain your functional mobility to where you're supposed to be. However, in that assessment, I may say, hey, you know what? I think you may need an MRI. I think it may be something else going on, or I may pull in another part of the healthcare team, which could be a physician, a sports medicine doc, maybe another arm of the team, just to also bring another eye into the picture to really assess the issue. But then from there, we create a treatment plan, and the patient, I can have a patient for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 12 weeks. So throughout the day, there's a lot of clinical assessments, evaluations. And from there, I had to take that information and transpose that information on an electronic medical record. So in a day, I could have a patient, it could take about 45 minutes to 60 minutes to assess, evaluate, and come up with a clinical diagnosis, then transpose that information so others can have an opportunity to review it, see it, because I don't work in an arm by myself. I'm under the umbrella of the clinic. So what other healthcare providers are there, they're also able to look into that information and seeing the same impairments that I was able to create based off of the assessment that I did that day. So balance administrative work, typing, writing, getting information, solving puzzles, because you're trying to narrow down what's the actual issue and why. Sometimes you may not always hit it right on the head, but you do your best in making that clinical decision making.
So you were able to see clearly that Marlon got crossed up by me when he came there to see you. Let's put it on the record, you can't hide everything. You can't say, I jumped up and just landed wrong, She said, I'm taking your words verbatim. I'm able to see exactly how the injury was caused. Got you.
That he did not get crossed up. That was the first question I asked him, I think. He admitted.
Yeah. What does the paperwork say? What does the paperwork?
Yeah. So Rick, do you see when I sat down in the chair and she was going through this? The doctor's just like, she explained all this, and I've never had a physical therapist explain everything like this. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, wow. All right, she knows what she's doing. I'm gonna get healed.
She knows a little something.
No, she knows a little something.
That's what's up. Yeah, I've had my episodes with a physical therapist as well, rupturing my Achilles a few years back. And so I really appreciate what physical therapists do, because they got me back up and walking and running and doing what I got to do to function. So it's very critical, man. And, as people are getting older and people are not the mobility is worse and, just different things, man. We don't take care of our bodies. I really appreciate even more what you guys can offer to the world and just to your clients that are out there and getting them back in shape, and out there functioning properly. Definitely.
Yeah.
I know you said you have siblings. Do you, what field are they in? Because I'm trying to get the family dynamics in terms of, because you did say your parents push you to do hard work and dedication and make sure come in. I'm an immigrant too, so I understand what's instilled in you to go out and do great things. But what kind of field are your other siblings in and your parents?
Yeah, so my parent, my dad, he was, before he passed, he actually.
Oh, sorry to hear about that.
Yeah. No, but he's awesome. A lot of what we are today is because of a lot of things that he poured into us. But, he went to school to get I believe he majored in economics, ended up getting his MBA. But of course, because they were here, they were looking to take care of the family. He didn't. He went a different route and ended up working in the healthcare system for a short time in mental health. And my mom, she's actually works for the state.
Okay.
Yeah, she actually works for the state. She's a supervisor. And, you know, I'm so proud of her because she was actually one of the first Nigerians in her department or even in that area to have a high role as a supervisor. So for Child Protective Services, she serves in that capacity. And my sister is actually currently a physician, and she's in the health field, and she's in mental health. She's an awesome psychiatrist. And my brother is an entrepreneur himself. He's a very witty guy, business-minded man, and he's all about empowerment and things of that nature. And my sister is actually in the Medicare social services arm, and she works in downtown Newark, and with Medicare patients and Medicaid patients, and enabling them and empowering them to get health care and being an advocate for that population of people who need those services.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
So there had to be something there. So we know that the foundation, and that's what we talk about, the foundation, there had to be a strong foundation there, because you could see from everybody else that thrived, that the foundation was built and you guys just blossomed.
That's good.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I co-sign for that statement, Sir Marlon. I co-sign for that. Yeah.
So I know, listening to your just how much it takes for just the time it takes to be with one client per day. You know, how do you manage just your time in general, with work and your extracurricular activities in terms of, being on different boards and,
being a chaplain,
and then life outside of that, how do you manage it all?
That's a beautiful question. I am still looking to master that. To be honest, and that's before the family really comes, right? But that work-life balance is something that I'm looking to make as a high importance. It's really, I'm big on time management. So every day I have a to-do list. I call it my TDL list. And it's my to-do list on what I want to do on a daily, but I make it on a weekly basis. So what I do is I'm intentional about my time, to be honest. So I have a particular amount of time a day that I'm going to allot to work, a particular amount of time a day that I'm going to allot to working out, or if it's, just spending my alone meditation time, to, social life. I have time that I map out that I hope that I achieve by the end of the week. Sometimes you have a plan in the beginning of the week and, may go left and may go right, but I have a plan. So I always make sure that I have a plan out for the week on what I want to do. And I have my checklist on how much time, I have a checklist on what I want to do for the week and how much time I want to allot to it. So if it's work, I have how many hours of the day I want to attend to work, or some of the projects that I'm working on, some of the things that I want to do, meditation time, my social life. My family's getting on me about that, and dating and getting out there and, making time for that. Which is important to me, creating that balance. So, I'm just intentional about writing things down and seeing where I could check things off the list to get it done and execute it the best way that I can.
That's what's up.
So, Ricky, should we ask her about that Sean question, man? Should we ask her?
Yeah, go. You gotta ask. Yeah.
You want me to ask?
Yeah.
All right.
Ahead,
so, how many times have you taken the board?
Wow. The board exam. That's a question for the ages. So that, honestly, I took the board exam. I had to take it twice.
Wow.
I did. I had to take it twice. And
are you saying that's a bad? Are you saying that that's a bad thing?
I am actually. For me, it was because I'm not saying that's a bad thing per se, but you always hope that after you take it that first time, you knock it out the park.
Okay.
You knock it out the park, right? That's always your hope. And what was interesting when I felt the first time, it's not good to compare yourself to others, but, I started to see like, oh, wow, that person passed, but I thought I was stronger than them, academically. Around, like, what just happened? And when I failed, I missed it by, what was it, 10 or 20 points. So it was quite close. But I was a bit devastated because, you're working, I'm living on coins. And I needed, I wanted to get back out there. So I did have to take it for that second time. And, thankfully, thanks be to God, I ended up passing. So, I had to take it twice, actually.
So what did you do?
Go ahead. I know you have the same thing.
What did you do the second time? Like, after you passed it, failed it the first time, like, how did you reassess yourself and then say, all right, man, this is what I got to do this time going into studying for this test? Like, how did you approach it the second time? That was different from the first.
This is different. Okay. So that second time, after I had a good old cry, so what I did that second time, I believe I did more test taking. So I could see the test and get more familiar with how they word the questions. Because at times with taking any standardized test, I can't say that it tests your intellect at all times, right? Sometimes people have text anxiety. I have a very good friend. He was one of the smartest in our class. However, he took the test multiple times. He's a successful business owner right now, but one of the smartest people that I know, and he had to take the test multiple times. But I just really had to take a look at the exam in different ways on how they brought the questions and really reteach myself some things that I thought I knew.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show. You can check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Studies have shown that different people groups may succeed with different tests and standardized tests. So you have to familiarize yourself with how the questions are being presented and creating that understanding for yourself. So I had to do a lot of that. I retaught myself some things that I thought I knew or might have brushed across, but not really develop a full understanding for. I had to reteach myself some things and humble myself first. That was one of the things I had to do was humble myself and say, okay, there's more that I could learn, or, what didn't I do well? And just really look at myself and take ownership of the failure too. Not point fingers because it was like, oh, well, that professor probably didn't do this, but just really take ownership and just assess and address. And that really helped me. So I took a couple of months to study, refocus. It was right before I celebrated my maybe 25th or 26th birthday. So I did party after that. After I partied, I got back to it and focused, and I did a lot of praying and, a lot of support from the family, of course, and just so I took a couple months before I got back into it again.
Okay.
I like that part you said, taking ownership of it, because a lot of people, when we fail or things don't go the way we want them to go, it's easy for us to blame the situation. It's easier to blame other people that are involved. For some reason, it's hard for a lot of people to say, you know what, this is what I did, or this is what I didn't do. I'm going to accept it. I'm going to move from it, and I'm going to be better. Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people are stuck in life, because they're not looking at themselves.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. And a big thing that I've seen too from we've been doing this podcast, and we've spoken to a couple of people, and even offline, what we found is when you start feeling yourself, when you get to the point where you think like, I got this, nothing can, I've done this already, I've done that already. Yes. You get humbled in a big way. Everybody, we had a friend on here that he was talking about when he was, he won, he got the chance to go to Mr. Olympia, and he was winning all his matches that he did, or all his poses that he did. Wow. And when he lost was the time when he thought he was at the top of his game.
See?
He thought he just beat the guys that he was going to compete against the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And he got beat because he was feeling himself. So
that was just a spoiler alert for the next podcast.
Yeah.
Let me preface you, right?
Oh, man.
That's fact right there. That's fact. And that's real. And that's life, right?
Yeah. But it's what you do. What you do after the failure is the biggest thing.
You're talking.
I'm finding.
You're talking.
Right? Because you can let that failure either consume you.
Yep.
And you never try again.
Yep.
Or you use the failure to grow.
Yes.
And get back, reassess, grab data, make sure that when you tackle the problem again, that you don't go the same way, because that'll be insanity.
Yes.
And then once you tackle that problem, a lot of times, 9 out of 10 times, you're going to overcome that situation. So
I agree with that. I agree with that. And one of the things I do want to say too, and something that I had to learn over the years, was don't be afraid to challenge yourself.
There you go.
When you're not afraid to challenge yourself, and challenging yourself may require you to take another route that you're not familiar with, right? And opening up your mind and increasing your capacity in different ways to get you to your point. So, it's all those things that you said, but what really helped me too was not being afraid to challenge yourself, because I had to work on that and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's
it. It's my favorite thing.
That's Ricky's favorite saying.
That's my favorite saying.
Wow.
Well, we thank you so much, and we always like to ask this last question to all of our guests. And the question is, going back years from today, going back, and you have a young lady or a young man that's getting ready to embark on a journey that you have gone on. What would you tell them now that you've gone through it?
That's a good one. One of the things I would say first is that I'll commend them for having the desire to want to even go on a journey. Right? To have that desire, you started very well, because you started off strong. So once a desire is birthed in you, what do you do with that? Now, there's a scripture in the Bible, and it says, write down the vision and make it plain. I'm big about writing down the vision. So you write down the vision and you work the plan. You write it, you work it. You write it.
Go ahead, chaplain.
You write it, you work it. And, once you write it and work it, in that process, I will encourage that person to get a mentor to assist you along the way. The hardest things in life is to try to find your way in the dark. But once you have a flashlight in hand and someone help you to lead the way, and you have that guidance, it makes it easier, right? So the importance of having a mentor and having someone to assist you and pull you and support you along the way, and not being afraid to fail. Just letting her know and equipping her not being afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to quit. And also having advisors on, because at times what can happen is that people can indirectly or directly compare themselves to others. But, focusing on her and, her purpose and what she's called to do, and her just focusing on that. But yeah, I think those would be some things that I will encourage a young lady who's looking to do what I'm doing, or even better, and leaving her options open, right? There's so much things that's in a person and purpose that can be fulfilled. So not putting yourself in a box, and, going beyond just the norm, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. Love it.
Yeah, love it. Where, if people want to get a hold of you, the way that you want them to get a hold of you, either your email, your what you are, Facebook, Twitter, all the different platforms that somebody could reach out to you.
I know. I wish I could spit out all the platforms. I'm trying to get on my social media groove, but what I could do, I'm a little slack with that, but I would love to give out my email.
Okay.
Just based on that first. So that's DPT. So D is in David, P is in power, T is in Tom, .intouchwell@gmail.com. So that's D is in David, P is in power, T is in Tom, .intouchwell@gmail.com.
Great.
Love it. Well, world, man, you heard it from the doctor herself, Dr. Sarah A. I'm just going with A because I'm not going to try to match up the last name.
That's okay.
As you guys get to know me more and more, I am not good with enunciating names or whatever. I'm an engineer, all right? But, always fall back on that. But, you heard it from the doc today, man. And we hope that you're able to take these nuggets and apply it to your life, man. Listen, we're on a journey and we're on a quest to just expose journeys to the world, to expose the ups and downs that people are have gone through to get to where they are today. There has not been any road that has been easy, but every road has paved the way for them to become the people that they are today. So we just want you to keep your head up, be inspired, be motivated. Don't stop dreaming. And with that dream, just have that drive, that determination, and that diligence. And whatever you want in life, you will see it come to fruition. So we thank you again for being a part of this journey with us. Thank you for listening to this show. And we'll be with you guys again next week at the same time on the Success Journey Show. All right, everyone, have a good one.
All right, one love.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.